Hi, I'm Ariya Larker, and you are listening to my podcast, All Things Acting with Ariya, a place where I talk to creatives about this wonderful, crazy, and painful career we call acting. If you are not an actor, please do stay tuned, because though this podcast is called All Things Acting, we will also discuss the general torturous but rewarding life as a creative. Hello and welcome back to my podcast. Today's guest is an actor, a radio presenter, a dancer, and a content producer, and probably much, much more. I'll let him tell you about that himself. But today's guest is Ahmed. Welcome to my podcast.
I'm so excited to be part of the podcast.
I'm so excited to have you on the show. There is so much I want to ask you.
Yes.
So, we met back in 2018, I want to say it was.
Oh, yeah.
I know,
You're
mad.
a while back now, yeah?
It feels like yesterday.
It does.
Yeah. So, we actually met because we were filming a short film called Worth It. Shout out to Offman. It's up on YouTube. And then we got back in touch because we were filming your web series, Tough, which is also up on YouTube. Please check it out. For my viewers and listeners who maybe haven't watched Tough and maybe haven't seen your YouTube channel, can you tell us a little bit more about you? Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? Okay, so in simple terms, I am an inspiring actor. Ever since I was 2 years old, in year 2, I remember watching Robin Hood on theatre, and I was like, I want to do that. I don't know what that is right now. I don't know what, but I want to do that. And I fell in love with acting. I danced up and down the country. I performed in theatre shows and plays, and I did it because of the thrill and the adrenaline of being on stage and being someone that is able to have the audience at the palm of their hand. And it really gave me it was my drug, right? So acting is the source of everything I do. So I'm also a content creator, from everything from vlogs, challenges, to web shows, dance videos, to also being a presenter for the BBC. But it all stems from wanting to be a successful actor, and just doing all that just so we can get to the goal of living and being in movies, TV shows, web shows, short films. So that's in short, that's who I am.
Amazing. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, that Ahmed actually does so much more. Like, you've really just touched the surface there. But I mean, he writes. I've seen him direct. And like the whole producing side as well. I mean, he organises like timings of when we're going to meet up, sorting out locations. I mean, you found cafes and things. I thought that was amazing. So
I think, to be an actor in today's day and age, there's two routes that you can really take. Like, you have the traditional route where you just go and audition. Acting classes, vocal classes, great. Nothing against that. But for people like me who are impatient and have, itchy bum and just need to just go out there and do something and do it big, that's the type of person I am. Like, I started YouTube to keep myself in rehearsal, believe it or not. I know that I wasn't filming because when you look like me, South Asian, Pakistani, Muslim, you're probably not going to always get the roles because it involves certain things that you don't do. You don't look the part. You are a different skin color, and ultimately it's fickle, but it does come down to what you look like as well. Sometimes you don't get roles, not because you're not good enough, it's because you don't look like the guy, which is completely understandable. So for what I was like, right, okay, I've got my professional side running. I need to generate something. I need to start doing something. And I started dancing, music videos, Lego House, Ed Sheeran, contemporary. I learned how to dance contemporary because I thought, right, I need to be versatile. Let me get out there. And I just think that's what you need to do.
And that's so, so inspiring. And I guess I'm sort of taking a leaf out of your book as well and trying to get things done myself now instead of just, hanging about. So, one question I have been desperate to ask you since we first met actually is how did you get into acting? How did all of this start? Like, did you go to drama school? How did you get an agent? Yeah, how did you get here?
So the story is it's quite simple actually. I was in year two and I went to theatre. I watched theatre, Robin Hood, and I was so inspired by the actors, and I fell in love with art then. And then since then, in my household, mum is a massive movie watcher. She loves cinema, and we grew up with a lot of Bollywood, a lot, and singing, dancing. We had superstars on our screens, and every night. Now, if you have a conversation with my mum, she knows not only all the actors, but their parents, their songs, what movie it is. So that I have it from there. But then for me itself, it grew because when I started to touch it more, I went to school, I rehearsed, I went to dance class, I did theatre. I was in Romeo and Juliet in year six. I grew, and the more I touched it, the more of a taste I got, and the more of the appetite grew because I was like, this is now becoming something that I want to attain. And when you grow up, it's hard because you say to your parents, I want to be an actor. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Because in their mind, an actor is Shah Rukh Khan, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, right? It's so far, it's unattainable. Like, how are you gonna, how? But what I think we need them to understand is that is a level of acting. There's so many steps beneath that. We can make a regular income. It's hard, but you will have little jobs here. You will struggle as an actor, of course you will, but it is attainable. And once that decision got made in my head, I was like, right, I want to be, I know this is really bad and I shouldn't say this, but I'm being honest, I want to be a big actor, a superstar actor. And that's my dream. Do you know what I mean? Whether I achieve it, whether I don't, that's my ambition, right? Whether I'm good enough is a different story. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I want to be a superstar acting, not because of the money, the fame, but because I love that feeling of creating stuff, watching it back in the edit and going, oh my God, yes! Like that scene we did with you, Ariya. I know I wasn't in that scene, but I was so happy with it because when you did that, the scene we're referring to is in Turf 3, the end scene where Anaya, who plays who's Aria's sister, gets stabbed. And Aria's performance, and we directed it, we said this needs to be a one-take thing. I'm not in the scene, Ariya. I'm not in the scene. But I loved it, and I was so gassed because we got the vision. We achieved what we wanted to achieve. So all fame and money aside, we're here for the art, man. We are here for the art. And I say this to people because what you see on Turf, right, is zero budget. You know this. We don't pay anyone. In fact, I pay from my own pocket for travel, for if Othman's coming from London, I'll pay for his hotel. That's what we do, right? And I don't know if that's not evidence that we want this because of the art and not the fame and fortune. I don't know what else is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where it basically grew from watching theatre. Love theatre, by the way. I don't know if you know, I love theatre. Watch theatre, did theatre, watch movies, want to be in movies, want to be in TV shows. And that's how it started, from mum, Robin Hood, to Ahmed going into school, doing it, and thinking, this tastes amazing. I need more.
Oh, amazing. And for my listeners who are maybe thinking of getting into acting, or maybe they're at college and they're thinking of that as their future career, do you have any advice of what they could do next? Like, how do they get into this industry?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think there's quite a few parts to this. Now, if you want to be an actor and you really think that you have something special and you can do it, then the only thing stopping you is literally you doing it. And if you're young and you want to get into college and drama school, do youth theatre, man. Youth theatre, do theatre. Any actor out there that wants to be an actor, I tell them, do theatre, because that's where you become a proper actor. You don't have a cut of close up. I'll get it on the close up now. Is you have a book, right? And you have to everything off. You need to be off that book, and you need to perform that, and that's where you are able to tackle the difficulties of an actor, the actual characterization, the memory, the learning the line. So when I don't mean to put a film down, but when you come to film, it's a lot easier because you have pauses, you have takes, you have redos, you have resets. With theatre, you don't. So always be all the big professional actors have all done theatre. Do you know what I mean? They were all in like Shakespeare, and that's great. I wish I did more. I wish I did more of that stuff. So do theatre, but then I think a big part in the South Asian community is convincing your parents. Like, how are you going to convince your parents? Now, what I did was I went and I spoke to my mum, my brother, and I was like, right, I kind of want to be an actor, and they were like, no, you know, how are you going to do that, basically? But they never said, they never actually said no. They were like, right, okay, how are you going to do that? And I was kind of like, well, you know, if he can do it, I can do it. And I was like at the screen, that guy can do it, I can do it. They're like, right, okay. And then my plan was, I won't tell them, I will show them. So I picked the right opportunity. I'd done theatre before. My brother had come here and there. He's very supportive, right? And then the idea was to convince my rest of my family, because in South Asian families we have a big extended family, you know, and they always somehow have an input. Not anymore, but when you're younger. So I picked a show that I was doing, which was Bollywood related, and I was like, if I can show them, I can be a superstar and perform, then either they'll be like, well, actually, mate, we need to have a proper chat because that's probably not going to work for you. Or actually, they'll be like, wow. So I went on stage, I was in the wings, right? Everyone's seated. And I think 75% of the auditorium was my family on that night because we've got a big family. And literally, I had my cousins there, my brother, my sister, my mum, aunties, uncle. They were like, right, okay. Because it was Bollywood, I knew they'd relate. You got to pick something that they relate with. I was in the wings, I was holding a little ukulele, right? And I shut myself. I was like, oh my God, this is rare. And then I just said, listen, mate, you do this. You love this. Just go do the best you can. And I went out on stage and I was, mehbooba, mehbooba. And I was like, proper doing it. And at the end, they were like, oh my God. And they were just like, maybe there's something here. And from there, I won their trust. But I'm one of those people that I never stop. So I also went to uni. I got my degree. I got a regular job. I balance acting at the same time. You know, you want to be an actor, but you've also got to eat. And because I'm a picky actor, I pick my roles. Even my agent know this. I don't do nudity. I don't do kissing scenes. I don't do any of that. I don't compromise my morals. So it's harder to cast me. Well, I'll make my income another way, and I will enjoy that too, and I will keep this going. And that's literally what I did. And I think for anybody out there who wants to be an actor, they should literally have a look at what they can bring to the table, capitalize on that, and show people. Go out there, do your theatre, do your training. I always say to be professional in any field, any art field, you need minimum 10 years experience before any real success will probably kick off. People come to the acting industry and they're like, within 2 years, I want to be Shah Rukh Khan, I want to be Tom Cruise. Bro, it doesn't work like that. You need 10 years of, that's when you really know your art form. I've been doing this for, how old am I now? Almost 9 years, right? And I still don't think I'm there yet because I've got so much to learn, so much to take in. So I didn't actually go to drama school. I don't know if you know this. I did a university degree, but I took private acting lessons at the same time. I went with a group of people with a really popular casting director in the north and trained with her and a group of my friends there. And I learned so much by watching other actors, because what she would do is she would give us the same scripts. So me and you would do one script, another actor and actress would do, and we'd watch how the same script gives a different performance. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that performance like that. And little things like that help you grow as an actor. And that's why I love it. That's why it's just, you know, you throw yourself in there and you play with it. And it's all about experience. It's all about learning. People love to speak, but it's time with this form, you listen and you take in.
I always heard, I've been taking these classes called Inspire here in Birmingham, and Michael, who runs the classes, always says a good actor is interested, they're not interesting. And by being interested, it makes you interesting. And that was really important, that how you said a good actor, they listen. And
Definitely.
yeah. And I want to come back to you talking about you didn't go to drama school and you went to university. I did the same thing. I got my teaching degree and made sure that I had this safety net, and then went and tried my best with acting. A lot of actors who I know sort of see having another job as failing at acting because they're not doing their acting full time. Whereas the way I see it is I want to act for as long as I possibly can. And so to do that, I need to work to survive. Can you talk a little bit more about how you balance your work life and acting?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I do not think having another job is failure. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually what I think it is. It's strategic. It allows you to have a longer run at what you want. We can all sit there and hope that any day now I'm gonna get that role. Any day we get close to auditions and we don't get them, right? But if you're hand to mouth for everything, you become stressed, your anxiety goes through, you go in, you're nervous, you're in the audition room and you have to land this, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes nerve-wracking. Whereas you have set up another job, right? And find a job which you are good at. And I say this because I feel like I'm good at my job, my day job, and it doesn't stress me out, right? Get
Mm-hmm.
something where you can do on autopilot. So, well, not autopilot, but it's easy, because then when you finish, you're not brain dead to focus on your creative side.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So the jobs I've had, I've always enjoyed. I've always done really well, so I don't have pressure from management.
Mm-hmm.
My day job. I'm a project manager for the government, right? So it's pretty.
Nice.
It's a good career to have,
Yeah.
right? It's a really good career to have, but I make sure I'm really good at it, so it doesn't cause me stress, anxiety, nervousness when I'm at work. So
Mm-hmm.
when I finish, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I don't do that. I'm like, right. And my manager says this. She goes, how are you so on Friday, 4 p.m.? How are you so alert? I went, Nick, because they know I act. They watch the turf. They watch plot. They watch everything, and they're super involved. I went, Nick, this is just the morning shift. I've got a full evening and nighttime shift to go to. And she's like, wow, like, it's inspiring. And you have to do that, man. Like, if you want to be comfortable, you want to be healthy, physically and mentally, let's not, because mental stress is a big thing when finances come into it. And people don't understand that, because if you got a rent to pay, then everything you're doing, you kind of like, you're all over the place trying to scrape together, and then you're not the best version of yourself. And to be an actor, you have to be neutral, alert, fully in the moment, mindfulness in the moment, to portray the actor, to build that. If your wires are tangled upstairs because you're too busy thinking about your finances, how am I going to eat tonight, how am I going to pay the rent, all that side, you will never perform well as an actor. And some people say, oh yeah, but it gives you that edge and you want it more. It's the eye of the tiger. Why does it, yeah, okay, cool, but why does it have to be eye of the tiger? You're going for a regular job interview. You're going for it. That's how I see it. I don't see this as a stardom. I see this as a job. I see it as I have a skill set. As a project manager, I have a skill set. I am organized. I am, I do risk management. I can manage teams of people, whatever. But as an actor, I can deliver. I can deliver emotion. I can, physically stage whatever. That's why it is. Like, and there's certain times, and when you're in that position, it makes it easier for you to turn down roles that you don't want.
Yeah.
And people
True.
get trapped in that. You see, they
Mm-hmm.
compromise their morals because they need it, right? They need it. For me, alhamdulillah, I'm like, it would be great to have, but if I don't have it, it's not written from above for me to
Mm-hmm.
have that. And that's how I see it. I never see that, because I used to auditions I never used to get, and I used to like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm not good. Question myself as an actor. But now, I'm like, if I get it, I get it. If it was written for me, that role was written for me to play, because I'm quite religious like that, innit? I know, and that's why I don't ever, I think I'm a practicing Muslim, as much as I can be, and then they're lying for me. Like, I know if I've turned down the kissing role, God knows I've done some. My intentions are great. He will give me an even better role
Mm-hmm.
to come, and
Yeah.
it's not about if you're having another job, you fail. It's actually being strategic. You're thinking about the longevity of your career here.
Yeah, and I think what you said there was really important about if you don't have this other job and you go for an audition, you need it because you're like, oh my God, I have to pay the bills. And a casting director and a director, they see that, and no one wants to pick the person who needs the job.
They're marbles. Like, you're gonna put pressure on the production. I don't need that.
Exactly.
If you have to pause because of a pandemic, I don't want you to lose your shit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's just something nice about being able to escape to acting. So when I do my other jobs, like if I go into a school for supply teaching, or if I'm like, I do a little bit of web development. So if I'm doing a website at home and then suddenly I get an acting job, I enjoy it that much more because I haven't done it all the time. Whereas I feel like, there are actors who try and fill their days either with like corporate work or like every single acting related work they can find. And I feel like you lose the love for it then because it becomes like your day job.
it becomes a chore. And the magic thing about the art world is it has to be from a happy place of you, whether you're playing a dark character or you as an actor, you have to be in a happy place.
You briefly mentioned that you are Pakistani and you're Muslim, and you're very proud of that. Do you think being Pakistani and Muslim has affected your acting life whatsoever?
In some ways, yeah, definitely. Like, and it's a deeper conversation, this, but I feel certain what I want people to see in characters and in stories, in TV shows, I don't think we're not there yet in terms of people writing. So it all comes from the writers, the producers, they channel it down, they create the characters, and then we're just doing what they want, right? And I think there's not many roles for us, people who look like you and I, and there's a gap in the market. And this is something that I am working on externally as well. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. It's hard. It's a hard industry, and it's who you know. But yeah, because they create something like Ackley Bridge, which is amazing. I have nothing against that. But you've got people in there, who are kissing people, who are all sorts of entangled, but it's made for a predominantly white audience. Right, that's why that's why the vision, the trajectory is that. Now, as a Pakistani Muslim, they've got Pakistani Muslims in there who are probably not classed as Pakistani Muslims because Pakistani Muslims don't do that. Do you know what I mean? And it makes it a bit harder for us to get jobs to in a mainstream audience, right? To get a TV show that has a Pakistani Muslim in, it's very hard to see because they want to do stuff that Pakistani Muslims are not comfortable with, and it makes it harder to get jobs. And I've experienced this, but this is why I've turned to said, right, if you're not going to put me on, I'll create my own work. And that's where turf comes from, plot comes from, all this comes from. So essentially what they're doing, it's making me better, it's making me fight against that and create my own stuff, which we will get, like we did the plot, and that was on Amazon Prime. That's a big thing. A big thing, do you know what I mean? And in the future, I'm working on something now, which again is a web show, and it's going to have a 6-part on Amazon Prime. Fingers crossed. And so them not giving us the right jobs has created this own lane where we're like, right, okay, I'll have to just do it by myself. And yeah, it's not on the level where it's on Channel 4. But we will get there. I'm still young. I will get there. Or I will try to get there, and I will bring my team with me and say, right, we're going to take over now because they didn't do it. And it's hard because I think a tricky part of this is having that conversation with your agent. Like my agent, she knows what I want, right, and she's okay with it, and that's the agent you want. I have an amazing agent who looks out for my best interests, who knows if I turn down a role, right? I turned down a role, and it was something to do with Pakistan versus India, yeah? And they wanted me to play a terrorist in a big Bollywood movie. I said, Nick, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I told her why, and she went, 100% agree with that. Don't worry about it. And that was a big opportunity. And, to be Pakistani Muslim and to be put forward for terrorist roles, to be put forward for taxi drivers to be put forward for LGBT, and something that's not just with Pakistani Muslim, but in line with my morals.
Yeah.
It makes it harder to cast. I'm already typecasted because I'm brown, and then we go bang, 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 bang. Right, that's what you have. That's what we're looking for. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and do you think that there's probably a bit too much emphasis on ethnicity when it comes to castings? Like, for example, my dream role would be to be a detective, and I would love to be Luther, right?
Ooh,
now,
yeah.
Now, I watched Luther, and Idris Elba, incredible actor,
Gorgeous guy.
Oh, amazing! Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's black, and you watch Luther, and it never comes up. No one ever talks about the fact that he's black. But if I was Luther, how much do you want to bet that there would be a storyline about being Muslim and being a terrorist and being South Asian?
Yeah, but you know what? And I tell you why that happens. That happens because there's two types of ways you make stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great storyline, right? Intricate, detailed, takes the viewers on a journey. Second thing, what sells? What's in the media? What do we need to play at?
Sure.
And they do a lot of that. When they see brown people, think terrorists, automatically. And it's like, unfortunately, the times we live in and the previous histories that's happened with 9/11, Muslims being terrorists and all that, they've just grabbed it and be like, right, we could put this there, put this there, put this there, put this there. It's like, okay, because they know people are get interested, and it's just that's what they're doing, and it's just it needs to take somebody to be like, well, actually, I don't think we should do that anymore because it's been done.
Yeah.
And we're at an age where I'm hoping you and I will, in the next 5 years, none of that will exist because we've lived through it. And there's nothing we can do because that's actually the times we live in. And it takes a lot of things that are created are done with inspiration from what's happening in the media, what's happened around us. Do you know what I mean? And it's sad actually because it shouldn't be down to that. James Bond would love him to be a brown South Asian guy. I would love to play Bond. Yeah. Oh my God.
You would be a great Bond. You would.
I look good in a suit. I look great in a suit, man. I'm ready for it. I would absolutely love to play something like James Bond. But I don't know if that's attainable.
And it's sad, isn't it? Like, why couldn't you be James Bond, but we not have to talk about the fact that you're Muslim and Pakistani? Just be a human being.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But I think the industry needs to change. It's happening slowly, I guess, for a lot of. I think the people who are feeling it a lot more are like the black community because they're growing out of that and they're at the forefront of that and they're leading the way in some way, which is so good because where Black history was decades ago to how they're ruling, like Black Panther, Get Out, all these great commercially successful movies. It's like, yes, we're not winning, but the community is winning, and then following them, it will be us.
Yeah, and it's like Bridgerton. Have you seen it at all?
I've not watched it. It's on my list. I think it was. Hang on, let me just check. I'll check later. Yeah, I need to watch Bridgerton. Yeah,
it was great because Bridgerton they had a black queen, and it was incredible to watch this sort of period drama piece, and we had a black duke and a black queen, and and it didn't matter, and I mean there was maybe like one South Asian woman. I've heard rumours that there is going to be some South Asian women in the next season. We'll see. But like you said, it's a start. And it's more about the fact that their ethnicity isn't brought up so much. I think it is the way we're moving forward. Well, I think we have covered a lot today, and thank you again for being on my podcast because
no problem. It's been fun. I don't know where half an hour was gone.
I know, amazing. Well, before I let you go and before we wrap this up, is there anything else, like any other advice you could offer to our actors who are listening? I mean, you already have given quite a lot of advice, but anything final you'd like to share?
I think if you ever want to be an actor, right, or any creative art form, just go and work on your craft. I think a lot of people don't do that. And when we're on set, it's visible. To someone who's got experience, it's visible. and actually you let the production down, right? So I always thought when I get onto the big sets, I want to be that guy that seamlessly fits in because he's been doing this, and that's what everything leading to now and in the future will be about, is perfecting that art form, reading, understanding a script, dissecting the script, annotating, building your character. There's so much. As an actor, you ask the common person, he'll be like, oh yeah, you just read lines. You ask somebody who's done acting, well, like, we dissect it, we make our facts, we make assumptions, we have to understand the character's journey, we understand why they're delivering the line. I've got to know Aria's line as well as my lines. I've got to understand the direction. You want to walk into an audition or on a set and just know the thing better than the writer. That's the goal. Get in there and know it better than the writer. Because I did a show, I did a theatre show with the BBC. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I'm going long again. And I had worked on the script so much. I told the director something that he was missing, and he was like, "I didn't even think of it like that." And I was like, "Oh," and I didn't do it like, I was like, "Oh, I thought it meant like this," and he was like, "Brilliant, brilliant," and that's the stage you want to be at. Do you know what I mean? To work on your craft. That's the final piece of advice.
Amazing. You have been such a joy to speak to. And
thank you.
For everyone listening and watching on YouTube, can you quickly tell us where they can find you?
Find me on YouTube. Just type in Ahmed Sher Zaman. Web shows are on there, dance videos, lots of fun stuff. Follow me on Instagram on at Ahmed Zaman 94, and also TikTok. TikTok's become a huge thing in my life recently, so please do follow that as well.
And I will link everything in the description of this podcast as well, so you can find him. Don't worry about remembering and writing that all down. Right. Ahmed, you have been an absolute joy to speak to. Thank you so much for being on my show today. And thank you everybody at home for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that podcast, and you can join me on my next podcast with my next guest. Thank you and goodbye.